Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here in Poland, and I would like to offer a very big thank you to Michael Jankowski and everybody here in BioPoint for the warm welcome, and it is my pleasure to be here this afternoon. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. What I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about is biosecurity. Whether we are all in the business of breeding chickens or growing chickens, our primary concern is limiting disease, is controlling disease. And one of the means of controlling disease is using biosecurity. We have at our disposal different mechanisms. We have vaccination, which is widely used throughout the industry. We have medication, and I use the word medication in the broadest terms. Medication would include the BioPoint products, the natural remedies, as well as the traditional medication. These are means of controlling disease. We also have a third means. We have biosecurity. And people now recognize the importance of not just controlling disease, solving disease, but also preventing disease. And this is the main challenge we have from a biosecurity point of view. So a simple question, what is biosecurity? Everybody now talks about biosecurity. It's a very common name, common word. But what is biosecurity? And really there are two components. There are two very clear parts to biosecurity. The first part is, reducing the potential for disease, reducing bacteria, reducing viruses, reducing pathogens so that we can limit the spread of disease or limit the incidence of disease on the farm. And this is where we use our cleaning products, our disinfectant products, our hygiene protocols to try and reduce that disease challenge as far as we can. But nowadays, this word here is very critical. Spread of disease. Biosecurity is also about stopping the spread of disease. Now that spread might be from one house to another house. Might be from one farm to another farm. Might even be from one town or one region to another region. In our global world today, it is even from one country to another country. So when we're talking about biosecurity, we need to be looking at controlling the disease pathogens and stopping the spread of those disease pathogens. And that is what total biosecurity is all about. That is our target. That is our aim. And to achieve biosecurity, you need good products. And I believe very sincerely you need a range of products. It is not possible to introduce a biosecurity system with just a disinfectant, just a single product. What you need is a range of products that will satisfy all the demands. You need a good cleaning product. You need a good bactericidal product. You need a good virucidal product. You might need a good product for coccidiosis control, for example. So what you need is a range of products which, when worked together in a protocol, in a program, can achieve biosecurity. And this is where Kilco as a business has been working very closely with BioPoint now for 4 years in developing a range of products for the Polish market, registering those products in the Polish market, and now beginning to introduce them to you and your customers here in the Polish market. So let's look at a typical chicken house, a broiler house, a breeder house, a hatchery, doesn't matter, any particular building. There are many factors that affect biosecurity around that building, outside of that house. Things like, for example, mice and rats. Rodents are the biggest carrier of salmonella of any creature there is. The simplest way of spreading disease from one area to another is through rodents, for example. So when you think about biosecurity, you need to look at the whole picture. What can we do to affect the external effects of biosecurity? So we should be thinking about rodent control, for example, insect control, wild bird control, things like the quality of the chicks coming into those buildings. Where have the chicks come from? What is the standard of quality of the production of those chicks? What about the feed? What is the quality of the feed that you're using within your animal housing? What about the supply vehicles, for example? What about the operators moving in and out of those buildings? These are all means of introducing disease, introducing pathogens. These are all, a lot of them are mobile vectors. What we need to do is look at the total picture and identify the external effects and how can we try and get our maximum biosecurity by looking at these factors. We've already discussed them. Things like equipment going in and out of the buildings. Where's it been? Who cleaned it last? Is it contaminated from another farm? Is it contaminated from another building, perhaps? What about foot baths? What about people? Are we disinfecting boots before people arrive in and out the building? Are we showering adequately? Are we supplying protective overalls for those people? So things like vehicles, people, water, rodent control. These are all means of controlling those external factors of biosecurity. Let's look a little bit closer to home. Let's have a look at our own farms. This time we have the inside of the building. What are the things we can do now to affect biosecurity? The key thing we can do is reduce bacteria levels, reduce virus levels. And this we can do by using good chemicals, good cleaning products, good disinfecting products. So within the building, we should be looking at cleaning, for example, foaming, applying disinfectant. What about washing hands? What about wearing protective clothing? These are all aspects that we can do to control the empty house, the disinfection, the terminal disinfection of those buildings to reduce the bacteria, the viruses, the disease challenge. It's actually quite straightforward. People often say, right, tell me about biosecurity on my farm. Give me a biosecurity program. Tell me how I need to do it, step by step by step. It's actually pretty simple. I reckon we can break things down into probably 5 pretty clear steps in terms of terminal biosecurity. This is empty house, between flocks, disinfection regimes, biosecurity regimes. First thing is to actually remove the litter, remove the equipment, and physically clean the surfaces as best we can. We then have to wash or clean that building. And I'm going to spend a few minutes just talking about cleaning, because cleaning is so important. We then disinfect. But if you haven't done the good cleaning, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your money. What about aerial disinfection? What about fogging the building after we've washed it, after we've disinfected it? And then the final step, which very often gets overlooked. You've got a clean building, disinfected building, you put your new day-old chicks in, you put your new birds into that building, and you've got a filthy, dirty water supply. Immediately you're compromising the disease status of those birds. So what we must include in the terminal disinfection stage is the water systems. We must clean the water tanks, the water pipes, the water drinkers, the nipple drinkers themselves. So these really are the simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps of terminal biosecurity. The first step is purely a physical one, removing the litter, cleaning the building, brushing the surfaces. The second step is cleaning. Cleaning is so important. To use an English word, muck. Muck is dirt, organic matter, soiling, feces, litter, whatever you want to call it. Every surface on a farm is dirty, and you cannot disinfect muck. You cannot disinfect dirt. You physically got to remove that dirt to allow the disinfectant to work. The dirt itself is organic matter. You think of the feces itself, or maybe the straw or the litter or whatever bedding you're using in your buildings. Thousands and thousands and thousands of microorganisms, bacteria and viruses are living in that organic matter. We've got to clean that matter out of the way. We've got to disinfect after we've done the cleaning. It's worth recognizing that all disinfectants are compromised or neutralized by organic matter. So if you've got a dirty house, a very filthy surface, and you put your disinfectant on the top, that is not the answer. You will not achieve good disinfection, good biosecurity, just by using a disinfectant. Because that organic matter will neutralize the disinfectant. It'll stop it working. And sometimes it's the most traditional products, the common products, that are most susceptible. Two good examples are chlorine. Everybody knows chlorine. People use chlorine to disinfect. You get a traditional smell of chlorine. Chlorine is incredibly susceptible to an organic matter. Another one is iodine. Iodines, these are the halogen chemicals, are not very good under dirty conditions. So if somebody asks me, what do I use for my foot baths to clean my boots? The worst possible product is a chlorine product or an iodine product, because you're going to put your dirty boots in there, or a lot of organic matter, a lot of soil. You're going to neutralize the disinfectant. What you need is a heavy-duty product, a peracetic acid, a peroxygen, a glutaraldehyde that can withstand an organic challenge. So the choice of disinfection, the choice of active ingredient, is also very important when we're considering a biosecurity program. We've just discussed this. All disinfectants are susceptible to an organic challenge. And it's quite simple. If you have a clean surface, then you're going to achieve the optimum conditions for the disinfectant to work. And this is illustrated on these slides here. If you've got a floor or a dirty surface, here's your organic matter. This is your dirt, your soil. Within that, you have a lot of bacteria and a lot of viruses. If you just put your disinfectant on, all that disinfectant will be absorbed by the dirt, by the organic matter. You won't achieve the killing of the bacteria and viruses. However, if you put a foaming product on, a detergent product, it'll begin to remove the dirt, remove the soil. It'll begin to wash away some of these bacteria and the viruses. You then use high-pressure water. You then use a washing pressure washer system, for example, and again you can see the bacteria and the viruses all being moved or removed from the surface. So that after cleaning, we just have some bacteria and some viruses on the surface. Now the disinfectant will work. Now you use your glutaraldehyde, your quaternary ammonium compound, your phenol, whatever the disinfectant is, and now it'll actually kill the bacteria and viruses on the surface. Cleaning is so important. This is quite a useful trial results, a summary of results here. This is basically a series of swabs, bacterial swabs. So we're not looking at viruses, we're just looking at bacterial counts, TVCs, total viable counts. And we went to a building and we took different swabs from different surfaces. So you can see from floors, from drinkers, from posts, from walls, from ceilings. So for example there, the dark blue one is a swab that was taken from a floor post-litter removal. So we've taken the litter from the surface, but we haven't done any cleaning. Just to put it in perspective, that square centimeter, tiny little area of swab, bacterial swab, from a dirty floor had 10 million bacteria. This is a scale here. So this is 1 million, this is 10 million. So you can see your dirty surfaces here are full of bacteria. This is a very, very high challenge. For every centimeter swabbed, we have 1 million or 10 million bacteria on those surfaces. If we use a detergent, a cleaning product, soak the surface, wash the surface, then swab again, now you can see we're reducing the counts from 10 million now down to maybe 1 million or even 10,000. No disinfection, just with cleaning. We then go in with our disinfectant and we can reduce the counts now down to maybe 100 or 1,000. So from 10 million to 1,000 by doing that cleaning stage and by doing that disinfecting stage. If we then do the next part, which is then fogging, we can reduce the counts even lower, maybe down to 10 or 100. So you can see how a biosecurity program is a step-by-step process. What I would argue very, very strongly is that it is very, very difficult. I think it's impossible to get from here to here without that cleaning stage. You've got to use that cleaning stage to reduce the bacterial level so then the disinfectant can achieve the best results. So this is what we're doing, step by step by step. Many people are a little bit disappointed. After the washing, after the disinfecting, hey, there's still bacteria here. Of course, there's lots of bacteria. We haven't sterilized the house. We haven't killed every bacterium, every virus. But what we have done is reduced the bacteria challenge, the pathogen challenge, to a safe level. Now it's at a safe level where the chicks or your breeder birds, your layer birds can thrive, can survive to their fullest ability and produce the best results. So quite an interesting slide there, which really demonstrates several things. The step-by-step-by-step approach, but also the importance of cleaning. It's so important to get that cleaning stage before you do your disinfecting. So when we talk about cleaning products, in Poland, for example, we're selling a product, EcoFoam Extra or EcoFoam Plus. And what you've got to recognize is that this is a sophisticated product. It's not a simple detergent. It's not a simple product you use for washing the dishes, perhaps, in your kitchen. This is a heavy-duty, specially developed, specially formulated cleaning product for the farm, for a dirty environment. And all good cleaning products will have surfactants or detergents which allow the release of fats, release of dirt, release of organic matter from the surfaces. And a lot of our products are very, very heavily formulated with a range of surfactants, maybe cationic, anionic, or non-ionic. It's getting the right surfactants to get the right results, to get the best cleaning capabilities. We add a lot of foam boosters. The best cleaning results are achieved by foaming cleaning products onto the surface, allowing that foam to soften the dirt, remove the dirt, and then wash. So we incorporate a lot of foaming boosting products, our raw materials, into our products. What about the working pH, the working acidity, neutrality, alkalinity of the product? Most of the dirt that you have on your chicken farms is organic. It's leftover litter, it's soil, it's dust, it's feces. Might be blood, for example. Now these are very much more easily removed with an alkaline solution. So most of our products, EcoFoam for example, would be formulated on a very high pH of 12 or 12.5. Quite deliberately. They're highly alkaline, they're highly strong, so that they remove those organic contents, so they remove the dirt from the surfaces. If, for example, you're working in a hatchery and you see the white deposits, like the lime scale deposits. The lime deposits are sodium carbonate, for example, calcium carbonate. This time you would need an acidic cleaner. You need an acid cleaner to remove those types of deposits. But for most farm applications, it's an alkaline material we need. So again, it's not just using a product, using a cleaner, it's thinking, what cleaner should I be using? What disinfectant should I be using? And that's where we're working closely with BioPoint to make sure that we have the right offering, the right combination for the Polish market. We also include sequestrants, which basically are means of making sure that the detergent, the cleaning product, works to its full potential. Particularly if you're using well water or borehole water, for example, you might have contaminants from magnesium or manganese, for example, which stops the surfactant, stops the detergent working. So we add a sequestrant which binds to these contaminants, binds to the ions, the magnesium, manganese, for example, and then allows the surfactant to work to its potential. So even a good cleaning product is actually a very sophisticated bit of chemistry. And we take a lot of pride in offering good quality products that we know work and do the job on the farm. A couple of examples, a couple of photographs. This is a sample of ecofoam which has been applied using a foam lance, again onto a newer building. But you can see the benefit of applying a foam, sticking to the surface. That'll then loosen the soil, remove the dirt. You can then wash it more easily. You'll get the best results. So nowadays, a lot of foaming application is used. So even on a vertical surface, a plastic portable gate, for example, you can still use the foam. Perches, excellent way of cleaning before you do your disinfecting. It's a very dark photograph, but this is the standard of cleaning that we should be looking for before we do any disinfecting. So before you open the disinfectant, before you even start to think about using disinfectant, have you done the cleaning correct? If the cleaning is good, then the disinfecting will be good. So then look at stage 3, disinfection. This is actually quite easy. The hard work is cleaning. When you do your disinfecting, it's important to, cover all of the surfaces. The disinfectant will only work if it soaks the bacterium, soaks the virus. So you need to have total coverage all over the house, from the roof, the walls, the equipment, to the floor. Everything must be disinfected. And again, use the right dilution. We recommend a dilution knowing that it works. We have the test data to support it at that dilution. If we recommend 1 in 100, we know it'll work at 1 in 100. If you use it at 1 in 400, 1 in 500, 1 in 1,000, we have no guarantees it's going to kill the bacteria, kill the viruses. So when it comes to disinfection, cover all the surfaces and use the right dilution, use the correct dilution. A couple of products we have available here in Poland. ViroShield, Virex will be the 2 main disinfectants. We're also introducing a new one, ViroFog, which can be used as a fog but also as a surface disinfectant. But again, the standard recommendation, 1 in 100, 1 in 200, soak the surfaces, allow it to kill the bacteria, kill the viruses. Very briefly, if you look at ViroShield, which is one of the products available here, it's a heavy-duty product. It's a very highly active product. And we've included 2 active ingredients. We've got the dimethylbenzylammonium chloride, which is your QUAT, your quaternary ammonium compound. So you've got a QAC, quaternary ammonium compound, and you've also got a glutaraldehyde. The QAC is particularly good at killing bacteria. The glutaraldehyde is particularly good at killing viruses. So a combination of the glutaraldehyde and the benzalkonium chloride gives you that broad spectrum of activity. That gives you the product that kills all of the bacteria, all the viruses that you're likely to come across. It also contains surfactant. So even the disinfectant contains the detergent, the surfactant. because we want that disinfectant to stick on the surfaces. We want it to wet the surfaces. We want it to penetrate the bacterial membrane, the virus wall. So by doing that, we need to incorporate a detergent or a surfactant as well. So that is VirusShield. It's a very active, highly resistant product. It's a good product for dirty conditions. So if you've got a bit of organic matter, if there's a bit of soiling left, then you can use the VirusShield. It can be used as a surface disinfectant, as a spray or as a foam, and it's quite widely used in foot baths and wheel baths. Some data. It's very easy for me to stand here and say, look, VirusShield's a great product. VirusShield will kill all the bacteria, kill all the viruses. What we need is independent data, and this is independent data on a range of bacteria. So things like E. coli, things like Salmonella, things like Pseudomonas. These have all been tested independently and proven to work at recommended dilutions, 1 in 100 or 1 in 200. When we do these tests, we actually use pretty tough conditions. We're including an organic challenge in the testing. So we want it to be able to work on a farm. So this is really just to indicate that there's independent data to support VirusShield against bacteria. What about viruses? Exactly the same. We've got independent data against things like egg drop, chicken anemia, Newcastle disease. There's a product there that we are confident will kill the bacteria, kill the viruses. And we have the data to prove it, data to support it. We also have some testing against some fungi. So Aspergillus, Candida. Again, we have that confidence that we have a broad range product. Briefly, the other product, the other main disinfectant in Poland is Virex. Virex is a powder, and this time it's based on peroxygen. It's an oxidizing system. So it's not based on glutaraldehyde, it's not based on iodine, it's not even based on a chlorine, it's based on a peroxygen system. It's an oxidizing system. With surfactants that make it work, and basically it also includes a chlorine source. So you've got your peroxygen-based compounds, which are then activated with a chlorine source, which gets the reaction moving, which produces the disinfectant properties, which kills the bacteria, kills the viruses. So it's quite a novel kind of product. So Virex is, again, one of our most popular, widely used disinfectants. Bacteria testing, again, Staphylococcus, E. coli, Salmonella. We've got the data to support the product. We've got a lot of virus data, probably more virus data than most products, to support Virex on the farm. We know these products will work in the farm environment. We've also recently, or not that recently now, 2, 3, 4 years ago, we got avian influenza data. So we got specifically tested against the AI virus, and we got a pass result 1 in 400. So we've got a product there which we know will take care of the avian influenza virus. Some bacteria data as well, Candida. So it's important to know that we have the products, but we also have the efficacy. We know these products will work. Stage 4 was fogging, thermal fogging. Again, the type of products we have here are HPPA, which is peracetic acid based, or Virex, which is your peroxygen, or VirusShield, which is your glutaraldehyde-based product. These are products which can be fogged into the chicken house, usually after washing, after disinfecting, even after they've set up the building with new litter, equipment in place, final fogging, just to get that last bit of biosecurity control. Don't forget the water systems. So again, we have products, Virex, HPPA, which can be used to sanitize the water tank and clean out the drinking lines so that when the new birds arrive in that environment, they're drinking clean water from a clean source so that they can have the best possible health status. So very often widely forgotten. We've spent time talking about killing bacteria, killing viruses, reducing pathogens on the farm. There's a very specific disease, which I know the next speaker is going to be talking about also, coccidiosis. And what we've done in the last few years is developed a product called Kilco, specifically for coccidiosis control. Very obvious on the farm. The first thing you notice is a lot of diarrhea, a lot of very wet feces. And certainly in the UK, I know we give them gradings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on the sort of the fluidity or the sort of sloppiness of the feces. So the first thing that is an indication of coccidiosis is very often a diarrhea. Coccidiosis, I'm sure you all know, is caused by a protozoa, Eimeria. Different species, different kinds of Eimeria, Asavalina, Tenella, various ones that are featured quite prominently. And they occupy different areas of the intestine, different areas of the gut. Tends to be where different species of the Eimeria are prevalent. But very obvious signs of disease. You can see the difference between healthy bird and an infected bird. You can see the substandard, you can see the poor quality, you can see the disease that's causing these animals to suffer. The bottom line is your birds are not well, but also it's costing your industry a lot of money. The cost of coccidiosis is huge, and it's something that people now are taking very seriously. How can we reduce the incidence of coccidiosis to produce better, healthy animals, which ultimately produce better rewards or better returns on investment? You're all experts on this matter, I'm sure, but if you consider the coccidiosis cycle, the oocysts themselves are actually shed from the birds in the feces. And it's these oocysts which are living in the environment. They're living on the floor of the chicken house, on the floor of the animal house, the building. And what we are doing is introducing a means of breaking this cycle. We are going to try and kill these oocysts at the environmental stage in the life cycle. So this is on the floor of the building. So after our cleaning, after our disinfecting, we're going to try and kill the oocysts that are in the environment. Those that aren't killed, that are still there, will be ingested by birds, new birds in the building, and then that whole reproduction cycle continues again within the gut, within the intestine. And I'm sure some of the speakers following me will be talking about how they can help to control this environment, the environment of the gut. What I'm looking at is the environment outside of the bird, the environment within the floor of the building. What's the challenge? This is it. This is the oocyst. It's a particularly resistant organism. It's a very difficult organism to kill. Most disinfectants, even the tough ones, even the glutaraldehyde, even the traditional phenol disinfectant, will struggle to actually break through this very thick spore wall. What we needed to do was look at a new kind of disinfectant, a new kind of product that could actually break through this spore wall and destroy the oocyst. This is what we came up with. We've come up with a combination, not just of 2 active ingredients, but this time we have 3 active ingredients. We've got the glutaraldehyde, and we've got the quaternary ammonium compound, the BKC, benzalkonium chloride, QAC, whatever you want to call it. But also we have a synthetic phenol, a cresol. And it's this synthetic phenol which helps to break through that spore wall. But the interesting thing is, on its own, it doesn't do the job. Just as glutaraldehyde on its own will not destroy that oocyst. What we have discovered is that it's a combination of the synthetic phenol and the glutaraldehyde working together, which seems to produce a synergistic action, which seems to produce an enhanced activity. And it's this combination of active ingredients which is able to burst open, penetrate, break open this, the oocyst, the spore wall itself. This is actually a very unique product. As far as I'm aware, there's no product that has the same combination of, synthetic phenol, glutaraldehyde, and quaternary ammonium compound. So again, just to look at the oocyst itself, what we're looking for is a product that will actually break through this outer wall, this spore wall here. And what we have is really two different layers. We have an inner membrane. You can see this red dotted line here, an inner wall or an inner membrane, which is primarily a protein in structure. And around that, we have a very thick lipid or fat wall around the oocyst. So we have a combination of protein and very thick lipid wall. And that's what makes it very difficult to actually break into this organism, to actually break open this spore. But what we are confident of is that it's the aldehyde, if you like, it's the combination of the glutaraldehyde and the quaternary ammonium compound, including the surfactant, that actually allows to start to break down that outer wall. It's the aldehyde and the QAC that'll break down the fat or the lipid part of the spore. What you then need is the phenol component, which will attack the protein membrane within that spore wall. And this is why it's a combination of those different ingredients. It's the glutaraldehyde targeting the lipid, and then it's the phenol targeting the protein. And a combination of these different actives is then capable of breaking open or destroying the oocyst. Work we did several years ago now in the UK, the Poultry Health Laboratory. We actually used active or live samples. We actually extracted or harvested oocysts from a feces sample, from a litter sample on a contaminated site. We harvested them using very traditional methods, and we had a pretty high challenge. We had something in the order of 50,000 oocysts per gram. So we knew we had a high challenge environment. This is a highly contaminated site. And we were then able to treat them with 2% Kilcox. And that solution of disinfectant activity was able to destroy the oocyst. And what we demonstrated was that there was zero sporulation. Oh, beg your pardon. And at that concentration, 2%, we were able to say, look, this is actually capable of rupturing the oocyst spore wall. And this was demonstrated using electron microscopy. And they're actually able to demonstrate the bursting open of the cell. So this is a product that we know is unique in the market, and we know actually works as well. And a product which I'm sure will be of great use, of great benefit here in Poland. So just to summarize, just to sort of pull the whole thing back together, we looked at biosecurity. Two main components. One is, if you like, ongoing biosecurity, continuous biosecurity. Things that you need to look at, things like foot baths, vehicle disinfection, water sanitizing, rodent control. These are things that you need to do every day. This must become a mindset. Biosecurity is not something you do one day, tick the box and forget about. Biosecurity is something you need to do every day. Keep reminding people, think about all these continuous measures. If you combine that with the terminal biosecurity, the empty house biosecurity, good cleaning, good disinfection, good coccidiosis control, put the whole thing together, continuous biosecurity, terminal biosecurity, that is how we will achieve what we're looking for, which is total biosecurity. That's it, folks. Thank you very much for your time.